Hey y'all, I wanted to take a minute this week and talk to you about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and that is bonding with your children. Now, I have two sons, Marshall, who is 5, and Remington, who we call Remy, who is about 15 months. So I was going to talk a little bit more about bonding with your boys today, but really these principles are timeless and can apply to girls, but I guess it would just be in a more demure and maybe kind of pink way because we don't have any of that going on over here. So have you ever heard this from your child?
Mom, you heavy?
All right, let's play. I'm gonna get you, bad guy. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. See, Marshall, aren't we having fun? So there used to be times when Marshall would ask me to play with him, and I would sort of feel like a deer in the headlights and not really know what to do. And there's only so many rounds of hi-ho cheerio that a girl can play, and yet my husband is a natural at playing with the boys. And I would sort of feel kind of jealous about how easily he would be able to play with them, and then I would struggle to find activities to play. And I just never felt like I had really mastered that ability. So, Ben would want to do things like wrestle and make up games, and then the things that I wanted to do with Marshall were more in my wheelhouse. So I wanted to do things that felt kind of safe and easy, like playing games or putting together puzzles or reading books together, things that were maybe semi-educational or learning projects, because of course we're prepping him to attend Harvard. But as Marshall got older, I found that he was less willing to do these things. They really didn't spark, a passion or creativity in him. So I could sort of con him into doing things. So I might get like my bingo markers, or I found these wipe-off books that have dry erase markers with them. So sometimes if there was something that was out of the box and really special, I could get him to do some of those things. But really, he wanted to do things that were more in his nature, like wrestle or play rescue bots or things like that. And that is not part of my repertoire. So I realized I had to regroup, and I had to think about ways that I could spend time with Marshall and have it be fun and meaningful for him, but also not feel forced for me. So that's what brings us here today. I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about ways that you can bond with your boys. So first, I tried to think about Marshall's personality and what his love languages are. Before Ben and I got married, we read a book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. And this really just focuses on the idea that everybody has certain ways that are how they receive love and how they show love. So these ways are called languages, and there are 5 of them. All right, I'm gonna try this. Physical touch, words of affirmation, giving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. So really take a minute to think about how these 5 love languages apply to your children and which one is probably most fitting for their personality, and then how you can interact with them based on that. So for Marshall, clearly he was asking to spend time with me, so quality time is probably his number 1 love language for receiving love. And so I wanted to go ahead and figure out some activities and ways that I can spend time with him that's meaningful for him, but also not painful for me. So here are my 5 top ways that I spend time with my boys. So my first idea is sports, specifically outdoor sports. I'm a fan of being outside. So I would encourage you to play sports with your children. And you don't have to be, Beckham or LeBron to be able to do this well. They really just want your time and attention. So what Marshall and I will do is we'll get his soccer ball usually, and we'll go in the backyard or bring it to the park or things like that, and we'll just kind of kick it around. Thankfully, there's zero skill involved probably on both of our parts, but we have fun. So rather than me just watching him do that, really getting up and interacting with him, even if it's not for a long time, I always know that it's meaningful to him in a way that he really feels like we're able to connect when we're doing things like that. Another idea for bonding with your boys is Nerf guns. We have a blast, no pun intended, doing that around here, along with laser tag. So what's the plan?
Split up. Mommy, you go that way, I'll go that way. See you later, alligator.
And the nice thing about this type of activity is that you can do them indoors and outdoors. We don't have a huge house, we're renting right now, and we are able to still do both of these activities inside or outside. And being able to do it inside is so nice because if it's cold or rainy, that way you're still able to play, but you're not dependent on what's going on outside of your home. So those kind of things are great, and here's a little secret for you, the big boys like it too. So my third way of bonding with boys is taking them on dates. I know a lot of my friends do this already, and this is just a nice way to spend one-on-one time with your boys. Really give them an opportunity to talk and feel like they're being heard. Because especially if you go by yourself without any siblings, it's just a nice way for them to really feel loved and like you're taking the time to connect with them. Marshall and I recently, we went to Chuck E. Cheese. It was for a friend's birthday party, but he and I basically stayed together and did the arcade games probably for a solid hour during that birthday party. And so it was just a nice time to really focus on him and see how much he's grown since the last time that he and I were kind of in an arcade setting like that. You can do things that don't even have to be expensive. I know he loves it when I take him to the park and just bring a juice box. We don't drink a lot of juice around here, so for him, having a juice box is pretty special. So spending time running around, playing together on the playground equipment, and then topping it off with the juice box at the end, he feels like he is kingpin. So another idea for bonding with your boys is the idea of touch. And I mean this in two ways. So one way is the idea that boys love to wrestle. It's going to depend on their size and their age, but generally speaking, boys like to roughhouse. And then the other idea is the idea of massage and scratching backs and things like that. I know Marshall will come and just snuggle up to me when we're watching a movie and say, "Mom, can you scratch my back?" Or "Will you massage my feet like you massaged Remy's feet?" And it's so nice because not only am I doing something that is meaningful for him, but then I'm also getting to snuggle my boy. And then conversely, he loves to wrestle. He loves coming and jumping in my lap, as you can see here. So anyway, think about ways that you can do that with your kids, especially your boys, because it really is like the sixth love language for boys. So my fifth idea for bonding with boys is character play. Think about a show or a book, one of the characters that your children absolutely loves. And what we'll do is, so right now Marshall is really into dinosaurs. So he's into Jurassic Park, which is Chris Pratt, whose character is Owen. So especially if Marshall is rowdy and I need to get him settled, what I will do is I will use our pretend phones and I will have Owen call. And I will pick up Owen's call and have a pretend conversation with him and then hand it over to Marshall. And this works beautifully in two ways. One, it really helps settle him. So if he's rowdy and running around and it just feels like I need you to sit, that will help settle him because he has to be quiet in order to hear my conversation with Owen. Second of all, what it does is it helps, when I hand him the phone, it helps kind of spark his imagination and creativity. Usually he'll have his own conversation with Owen, and then once he hangs up, that usually gets his gears turning, and then he wants to go do kind of pretend play and imaginary play in his room based on the conversation, whatever they talked about. So that is a fun way. You can make up all kinds of conversation, have all kinds of ideas, and really go to town with that, because I have found that that's a way that he really enjoys interacting, and it is so easy. So I hope these ideas have started your wheels spinning and thinking about ways that you can bond with your boys. I know I'm always looking for new ways to interact, so if you have any ideas, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And then you know the drill. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And then if you're new to my channel, Pragmatic Paula, please hit the subscribe button and tap the bell so you can get the weekly notification for when I upload. And then as always, until we meet here again next week, may the Lord bless and multiply your time. Bye. That knowledge.
Bye, Mommy.
Okay, see you, Jude.
See you later, Alligator.
See you later.